Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today topic of our discussion is two group carbon-carbon disconnections. In this lecture, compound will contain two functional group and the relationship between these two functional group will be 1,3. That's why such compounds are called 1,3 difunctionalized compounds. These compounds will contain two functional group and the relationship between two functional group is 1,3. One functional group will be at position 1 and the other will be at position 3. And in this lecture we will disconnect the carbon-carbon bond of the compounds containing two functional group. Key concepts. In this lecture we will discuss carbonyl compounds as electrophiles and as a nucleophile. This lecture, as you know, this lecture is extension of our previous lecture, that is lecture number 10. In the previous lecture we discuss in detail that carbonyl compounds act as electrophile, and when these carbonyl compounds present in the enolate form, then these compounds will act as nucleophile. In this lecture we will discuss that how these carbonyl compounds acting as electrophile and how they are acting as nucleophile as well. After this we will discuss formation of beta hydroxyl carbonyl compounds through aldol reaction. Remember, aldol reaction is a coupling reaction. It's a coupling between two carbonyl compounds. One carbonyl compound will act as electrophile, the other carbonyl compound will act as a nucleophile. And this reaction occurs in the presence of base. The base abstract the acidic proton from the alpha carbon of carbonyl compound and convert that compound into an enolate. That enolate will act as a nucleophile, and this nucleophilic enolate will attack at carbonyl carbon of the other carbonyl compound. Then by this attack the product will be the hydroxy ketone. So the major reaction which couple the two carbonyl compounds and gives a product hydroxy ketone is aldol reaction. Aldol reaction is of two types. One is simple aldol reaction and the other type of this one is the cross aldol condensation reaction. If the two coupling partners, the two carbonyl compounds are of same type, then it is simple aldol reaction. And if the aldol reaction occur between two different carbonyl compounds, then it is called cross aldol reaction. Remember, for the aldol reaction, the necessary condition is that one of the carbonyl compound must possess alpha carbon, because that carbonyl compound will be converted to enolate. The other concept which will be discussed in this lecture is synthesis of alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. Remember, first we will synthesize beta hydroxy ketone or beta hydroxy carbonyl compound, and then that beta hydroxy carbonyl compound will be converted to the alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds. We will also discuss intramolecular aldol reactions in this lecture also. The two coupling partners, I mean the two carbonyl group, will present within the same molecule. The one part, I mean the one carbonyl group will act as electrophile and the other carbonyl group present in the same molecule will act as a nucleophile. So such aldol reaction are called intramolecular aldol reaction. We will see the mechanism and the disconnection occurring in intramolecular aldol reactions. Then we will discuss disconnection and synthesis of hydroxyketone as well as disconnection and synthesis of 1,3-diketones. Reactivity order of carbonyl compounds and their respective enolates. In this slide we will discuss different carbonyl compounds, then we will discuss their reactivity when these compounds are present in carbonyl form, I mean their reactivity as an electrophile, and later we will discuss their reactivity order as their enolates. See this one. We shall understand the formation of enolate from aldehydes, ketones and esters, and it is worthwhile establishing that these three types of compound form a graded series of electrophiles, whilst their enolates form a graded series of nucleophiles in the reverse directions. See this one. This is aldehyde. When it is in the form of aldehyde, then it will act as electrophile. See, this is ketone and this is ester. When these compounds will present in this form, then they will act as electrophile. The nucleophilic attack will occur at carbonyl carbon of the aldehyde, or the carbonyl carbon of the ketone, or the carbonyl carbon of the ester. So see the reactivity order. More reactive, it means as a electrophile, ester is least reactive and the aldehyde is most reactive as a electrophile. See this one, most electrophilic carbonyl compound. The aldehyde is most electrophilic carbonyl compound among the other carbonyl compound from ketones, esters or the other one. See the below compound. This is the enolate of the ester, this is enolate of the ketone, and this is enolate of the aldehyde. See this one. The enolate of ester is most reactive nucleophile. So remember, when the compound is present in the carbonyl form, then that act as electrophile, and when this compound is converted to its respective enolate, then its enolate will act as a nucleophile. So this is ester, and below the ester is the enolate of that ester. So this enolate of the ester act as a nucleophile. See the reactivity. The enolate of the ester is most nucleophilic enolate among the enolate of ketone and enolate of aldehyde. The enolate of aldehyde is less reactive enolate, while the enolate of ester is the most reactive enolate. So keep in mind one thing. So in the start we discussed that we will discuss the carbonyl compound as electrophile and the carbonyl compound as a nucleophile. So this slide giving us a short clue. When the carbonyl compound is present in the form of carbonyl compound, then it act as an electrophile. And when this carbonyl compound is converted to its enolate, then its enolate will act as a nucleophile. This is the short answer, that when and how the carbonyl compounds act as electrophile or the nucleophile. Beta hydroxy carbonyl compounds. Beta hydroxy carbonyl compounds are formed through aldol reaction. In the start, I told you that aldol reaction is a condensation reaction between two carbonyl compounds. One carbonyl compound is converted to enolate and will add it to the other carbonyl compound and afford beta hydroxy carbonyl compound. The product of aldol reaction is the beta hydroxy carbonyl compounds are hydroxyketone. See the compound 6. This is hydroxyketone. Compound 6 is beta hydroxyketone and it is 1,3 difunctionalized compound. See the compound 6. It contains two functional groups. One is the carbonyl group and the other is the hydroxyl group. The relationship between these two functional groups is the 1,3 relationship. So it's 1,3 difunctionalized compound. So upon disconnection of the bond next to the hydroxyl carbon affords two synthons, that is synthon 7 and synthon 8. See, this is the wiggly line which shows the disconnection of the bond, and it is showing the disconnection of the beta bond, the bond next to the hydroxyl group. This bond which I am describing that it is a beta bond, this bond is beta to the carbonyl carbon, but this bond is next to the hydroxyl group. So this is alpha bond with respect to the hydroxyl group and beta bond with respect to the carbonyl group. If we describe the disconnection with respect to carbonyl group, then we will say that it is beta cleavage. If we will describe the disconnection of the compound 6 with respect to hydroxyl group, then it is the alpha bond which is cleaved or which is broken down during the disconnection, and this disconnection is called 1,3 dio disconnection. 1,3 dio disconnection, when this bond which is next to the hydroxyl group, hydroxyl carbon, is cleaved, then it affords two synthon. One is synthon 7 which is enolate of the carbonyl compound. The alpha carbon is carrying a negative charge and the other synthon is compound 8 which is simple ketone. In the previous lecture I told you that when our target material is hydroxyketone, then upon disconnection it gives us two fragments. One must be the enolate and the other may be the aldehyde or may be the ketone. So when the other coupling partner, the other fragment of beta hydroxyketone will be the ketone. Remember, I am giving you one more hint. See, this is compound 6. It is beta hydroxyketone and this is tertiary alcohol. See, this is tertiary alcohol. If our target molecule is the tertiary alcohol, then upon disconnection its one fragment is enolate, the other fragment will be the ketone. If our target molecule is secondary alcohol, then its second coupling partner will be the aldehyde. This is one more hint for you. See the target molecule. If it is alcohol, then keep in mind, upon disconnection, the hydroxyketone will afford two fragments. One must be the enolate, the other must be the aldehyde or the ketone. So decide. The other coupling fragment is aldehyde or the ketone. Then again see the target molecule. If it is tertiary alcohol, then its other coupling fragment will be the ketone, and if the target molecule is the secondary alcohol, then its other coupling partner except the enolate will be the aldehyde. Here the compound 6 is the tertiary alcohol, so upon disconnection of the beta bond or the bond next to the hydroxyl carbon, then it affords fragment 7 and fragment 8. The 7 is the enolate, it's a donor synthon, and the 8 is the acceptor synthon. During synthesis, the compound 7 is coupled with compound 8, that is called self-condensation reaction, and self-condensation reaction occurs between two similar carbonyl compounds. We simply need to create a small amount of enolate 7 in the presence of much unenolized ketone 8, and the reaction will occur. That reaction will be called self-condensation reaction because the two coupling partners are the similar compounds. So, bases used to produce enolates. Bases like hydroxides or alkoxides. It means during aldol reaction, bases are hydroxides are the alkoxides. Sodium alkoxide, potassium alkoxides are of about the right strength. These bases, which are hydroxides or the alkoxides, can catalyze the aldol reaction. Among hydroxide, barium hydroxide is often used. The small amount of enolate 7 quickly add to the large excess of ketone 8. This is mechanism. From here the mechanism of the aldol reaction starts. When the base is added to the ketone, then base abstract the alpha proton and converts the compound into the enolate. That enolate is 7, and only a small amount of enolate 7 is formed, then it quickly adds to the large excess of ketone, that is compound 8. The starting material is our ketone, and remember it's a self-condensation reaction. Self-condensation reaction means the same type ketone is present as a starting material. So when we add a base, then base will convert one or small amount of the ketone into its enolate, and as the enolate is formed, it quickly adds to the large excess of the other ketone which is present in large excess form and give the anion 9, that will be shown in the next slide, which regenerates the base by taking a proton from water or the alcohol. It means one enolate, when one enolate is added to the carbonyl compound, then another enolate is formed. That enolate will take proton from water or simply the alcohol. Then it gives us beta hydroxy ketone and regenerate a base which catalyze the other reaction as well. Synthesis of beta hydroxy ketone. See, this is compound 8. It's a ethyl diethyl ketone, symmetrical ketone. Base abstract the acidic proton and converts the compound 8 into enolate, which is shown as a fragment number 7. This enolate acts as a donor synthon or the as a nucleophile, and it attacks at the carbonyl carbon of the other ketone and converted into a compound 9, which is an oxyanion. This oxyanion abstract the proton from the alcohol or from the water and affords product 6, that is hydroxy ketone. Product 6 is called aldol. Hydroxy ketone, the other name of hydroxy ketone is aldol, because a single molecule contains two functional groups. One functional group is the hydroxyl group and the other functional group is the aldehyde group. A compound which contains two functional groups within the same molecule, and one functional group is the hydroxyl group and the other functional group is the keto or the CHO group, then such compounds are called aldol compounds. Such compounds are called aldols. And this reaction, as a result of which aldols are formed, such reactions are called aldol reaction. So, formation of beta hydroxy ketone occurs through aldol reaction. See the compound 10. This is another compound. Apparently, the compound 10 is showing that it is not the hydroxy ketone, and there is no 1-3 relationship in this ketone. This compound 10 is called Mayer's heterocycle. Mayer's heterocycle. So when the bond between sp2 carbon and oxygen is cleaved, and at the same time the bond between nitrogen and this carbon is cleaved, then we have compound 11, that is the diol. Apparently this diol is not showing that it's a beta hydroxyketone or hydroxyketone, but when this diol is subjected to functional group interconversion, then one of the OH is converted to the keto group, and the compound 12 is showing that it is 1,3 difunctionalized compound, and it is beta hydroxyketone or simple hydroxyketone, and the relationship between the two functional group is 1,3 relationship. So the bond next to the hydroxyl carbon is cleaved, then this disconnection is called 1,3 diode disconnection, and it affords two fragments. One fragment is the ketone, which will act as a nucleophile, and the other fragment must be the ketone, because see the compound 12, it's again a tertiary alcohol. I told you previous slide, if our target molecule is tertiary alcohol, then its one coupling partner is the enolate and the other coupling partner will be the ketone. So see this one, when this hydroxyketone is cleaved, I mean bond next to the hydroxyl carbon is cleaved, then it affords two fragments. The both fragment is the ketone, and we will discuss its synthesis in the next slide. Synthesis of Mayer's heterocycle compound 10. See, the starting material for the Mayer's heterocycle was acetone. This is acetone. Barium hydroxide is used as a base. It will abstract the acidic proton from the alpha carbon and convert it into enolate of the acetone. That enolate will be added to another molecule of the acetone and affords product 12. The product 12 is obtained in 75% yield, and it is beta hydroxyketone, or simply we can call it is an aldol. So the reaction is called aldol reaction. This aldol is subjected to catalytic reduction. The reduction occurs in the presence of nickel catalyst. Then the carbonyl group is reduced to the hydroxyl group, and our product is 11. The product 11 is a diol, and it is obtained in 71% yield. This product aldol is treated with MECM, methyl nitrile compound, in the presence of proton. Then it affords our target molecule 10, that is Mayer's heterocycle. What happened in this reaction? There is a triple bond between the carbon and nitrogen. It's a cyano group, C triple bond N. The lone pair of oxygen will attack at carbon of the cyanide, and the next bond, that is the triple bond between carbon and nitrogen, move towards the nitrogen, and the nitrogen become nucleophilic. So here is a question: which OH of the diol will attack at carbon of the cyanide? Remember, the OH, this one OH, which is the secondary OH, this will attack at the carbon of the cyanide, and the other OH will be protonated in the presence of acid and will leave as a water molecule. So I repeat this point. This diol, when added or when treated with methyl cyanide in the presence of acid, then it affords Mayer's heterocycle, which is our target material. How the product formation occur as a result of this reaction? See over here, this is the secondary OH, because this OH is attached with secondary carbon and this OH is attached with the tertiary carbon. So the tertiary carbon will, the tertiary OH, the OH attached with the tertiary carbon will attack at hydrogen ion of the acid and convert it to the hydronium ion. When the water will leave, the positive charge will be at tertiary carbon. The tertiary cation will be obtained. In the next step, the lone pair of oxygen will attack at carbon of the cyanide, and the triple bond present between carbon and nitrogen. One of the triple bond will move toward the nitrogen and nitrogen become negatively charged. That nitrogen will attack at cationic center, the tertiary cationic center. Then it affords product 10, that is Mayer's heterocycle. See another compound, compound number 30. It contains beta gamma unsaturated bond. Carbonyl group, this is alpha carbon, this is beta carbon, and this is gamma carbon. So you can say compound 13 is beta gamma unsaturated ketone, and this compound is not the conjugated ketone. Compound 13 is not the conjugated ketone, it is a beta gamma unsaturated ketone, and this compound cannot be converted to a conjugated ketone. See, I give you a hint. Before discussing this reaction, the disconnection of compound 13, I provide you a hint. See, what we discussed in the previous slides, the disconnection of beta hydroxyketone. So, beta hydroxyketone is formed through aldol reaction. One of the necessary fragment, one of the necessary intermediate is the beta hydroxyketone. When we will obtain a beta hydroxyketone, then we have a concept that how this beta hydroxyketone is formed. See this compound 13, it's not a beta hydroxyketone. And in the previous slide we have discussed the Mayer's heterocycle, that was not the beta hydroxyketone. So recall the disconnection pattern of the Mayer's heterocycle. We have disconnected the bond between nitrogen and the carbon, and similarly between the carbon and the oxygen. So we obtained a diol and we convert the diol to the beta hydroxyketone. Then we got the idea that how this beta hydroxyketone was obtained. Same concept will be applied in the disconnection of the compound 13. See over here. It's a beta gamma unsaturated ketone. It's a double bond between beta carbon and the gamma carbon. And we know the pi bond is formed through Wittig reaction. When a pi bond is cleaved, then one of the carbon will be converted to the aldehyde and the other will be converted to the alkyl halide. So the halo group will be attached with this carbon and the formyl group will be attached with this carbon. Disconnection of the pi bond, that is pi bond between beta and gamma carbon. It's a Wittig disconnection. Then it affords compound 14. Compound 14 do not have a beta. Compound 14 is not a beta hydroxyketone. Then this compound 14 subjected to functional group interconversion. As a result of functional group interconversion, keto group is converted to the hydroxyl group. Then it is compound 15. Yes, the compound 15 is beta hydroxycarbonyl compound. There is a 1,3 relationship, carbonyl compound 1, this carbon 2 and this carbon 3. There is a 1,3 relationship between OH and the formyl group. So when a bond next to the hydroxyl carbon is cleaved, then we have two fragments, that is compound 16. So when a bond next to the hydroxyl carbon is cleaved, then two similar fragments is obtained. Those similar fragments are compound number 16. In the next slide, we will discuss the synthesis of the target material 13. I repeat the disconnection. The beta gamma pi bond is cleaved through Wittig cleavage and it affords compound 14. The compound 14 is not the beta hydroxyketone, so the keto group is converted to the hydroxyl group through functional group interconversion and it affords 15. Yes, this is our required intermediate which have 1,3 difunctionalized relationship or the odd numbered relationship between two functional groups, and this compound is subjected to the cleavage, beta cleavage, or the cleavage of a bond next to the hydroxyl carbon. Then it affords two similar fragments which are 16. One compound will act as electrophile and the other compound will act as a nucleophile. Synthesis. See this one, this is a compound 16. It is treated with sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide will abstract the alpha proton and convert it into anion. This anion added to the unenolized compound 16 and affords product 15 in 85% yield, that is beta hydroxycarbonyl compound. This beta hydroxycarbonyl compound 15 is subjected to oxidation. The oxidation carried out in the presence of chromium oxide and pyridine, and it affords compound 14 in 85% yield. As a result of oxidation, the hydroxyl group is converted to the carbonyl group. Remember, the oxidizing agent have no effect on formyl group. So this is selective oxidation of hydroxyl group in the presence of formyl group. Remember, in this reaction, the oxidizing agent have no effect on the aldehyde group, and this oxidizing agent converting the hydroxyl group into the ketone. Why the hydroxyl group is converted to the ketone? Because this is secondary alcohol, and remember, secondary alcohol upon oxidation converted to the ketone. This is ketone. The yield of the product is 85%, and this ketone, which is 1,3 dicarbonyl compound, is treated with Wittig reagent or phosphorus chelate. This is phosphorus chelate. This phosphorus chelate is obtained by treating the alkyl halide with triphenylphosphine. This is phosphorus chelate. Phosphorus chelate upon reaction with the aldehyde group, then it affords beta gamma unsaturated carbonyl compound, that is compound number 3, and that is our target material. See the mechanism. The base sodium hydroxide abstracting the acidic proton, and here the enolate or the anion, and it is attacking on the other unenolized compound 16 and affords beta hydroxy carbonyl compound. I will suggest you to write the mechanism of the Wittig step. I mean the reaction of aldehyde group with phosphorus yielded to afford 13. Synthesis of alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds. See this one, compound 17. This compound 17 is a linear isomer of compound 16. And remember, compound 16 was a starting material for the formation of Mayer's heterocycle, that was compound 10. And we discussed the formation of Mayer's heterocycle in previous slide. See, first step in the synthesis of alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound is the formation of enolate from compound 17 in the presence of base sodium hydroxide. The next step is the attack of enolate donor synthon on unenolized compound 17 and affords intermediate compound 19, that is another anion. This anion gains the proton from water or the alcohol to afford hydroxyketone. This hydroxyketone upon dehydration converted to alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. See, this step is different from the steps involved in the synthesis of beta gamma unsaturated carbonyl compound. See, the first two steps involved in the synthesis of both unsaturated compound is the same, but the step 3, which is the dehydration step in the synthesis of alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound, this step is different from the steps involved in the synthesis of beta gamma unsaturated carbonyl compound. Alternate step, instead of third step, the anion 19, this is anion 19, it abstracts the oxygen, negatively charged oxygen abstract the proton, converted to the hydroxy carbonyl compound, that is enol. This compound 19 is converted to the another enolate, which is compound 20. How this is converted to the compound 20 enolate? This becomes OH. And here is the alpha proton, one more alpha proton over here. The base will abstract this proton and convert this 19 to 20. This 20 is the enolate ion, and enolate follows E1CB elimination. As a result of E1CB elimination, it leaves water molecule, it pushes out water molecule and afford alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. See over here, this is compound 21, this is alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. So remember, in the previous slide we have discussed the synthesis. Just remind the previous slide what happened, what we discussed in the previous slide. First, enolate was formed. Second, the enolate attack on the unenolized carbonyl compound and it gives us beta hydroxy carbonyl compound. Beta hydroxy carbonyl compound converted to another enolate 20, which follows E1CB elimination and affords alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. So here, this is alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. And how the alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound was formed? The alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound was formed from hydroxy carbonyl compound. So there is hydroxyl group at beta carbon. So when we have a disconnection of the alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound, then the first step is the functional group interconversion, As a result, hydroxyl group is introduced at beta carbon and the double bond is converted to the single bond. So this is compound 21 compound is converted to compound 22. Now it have 1,3 relationship between two functional group and it's a hydroxy ketone, and the bond next to the hydroxyl carbon is cleaved and it affords two fragments, fragment 23 and fragment 24. One is aldehyde and the other is ketone. Big C, compound 22. This compound 22 is a secondary alcohol. So if our target molecule is secondary alcohol, then upon cleavage of bond next to the hydroxyl carbon, then it gives us two fragments. One fragment is ultimately ketone, the right one, and the other fragment, the fragment containing the OH, will be the aldehyde, because our target molecule is the secondary alcohol. If it will be the tertiary alcohol, then our other fragment will be the ketone. But here our target molecule is the secondary alcohol, so the other fragment or the coupling partner of compound 22 will be the aldehyde, and that is 23. So you can do the practice by combining the 23 with 24 to afford compound 22, which follows the even CB elimination to afford compound 21. You have to do the practice of formation of compound 21. See over here, there is a compound 25. So when you are given the compound 21, that is alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound, then when the compound 21 is subjected to functional group interconversion, then we added a hydroxyl group at one of the double bonded carbon. There is a double bond between two carbon. It's a carbon number 3, that's beta carbon, and the carbon number 2, that is the alpha carbon. So we have option to add the hydroxyl group either at beta carbon or at alpha carbon. If we add hydroxyl group at beta carbon, then it is compound 22, and if we add hydroxyl group at alpha carbon, then it is compound 25. See over here, in 25 the relationship between two functional group is 1,2, and we are not discussing a 1,2 functionalized compound, but we are discussing 1,3 functionalized compound. So that's why when our target molecule is alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound, then upon functional group interconversion we will add hydroxyl group at the beta carbon, not at the alpha carbon. See this one, another example, it's again alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. First step, functional group interconversion, the OH is added to the beta carbon. See over here, this is the alpha carbon and this is the beta carbon. Compound 27, 1,3 relationship, beta hydroxy ketone. Then this compound 27 is subjected to 1,3 di-O disconnection. I mean the bond next to the hydroxyl carbon is cleaved. See again, this is tertiary alcohol. So when the bond next to the hydroxyl carbon is cleaved, then it affords compound 28 and 28. So two carbonyl compound, two ketones are obtained. So you have to do the practice of both target material shown in the previous slide by writing the mechanism of formation of both compounds. Here we will discuss the intramolecular aldol reaction. See the compound 29. This compound contains two functional groups within the same molecule. Keto group, this is the keto group 29. When it is treated with H2SO4, then this compound is converted to compound 13 in 85% yield. What happened in this reaction? The compound 29 is converted to alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. It means aldol reaction occur within this molecule. What happened? The base will have abstract the alpha proton and converts it into enolate. This enolate added to the carbonyl carbon and affords beta hydroxy carbonyl compound. That beta hydroxy carbonyl compound follows the E1CB elimination of water molecule and affords alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds. See this one. This is another carbonyl compound. This is another compound. See over here. There is not a 1,3 relationship between the two carbonyl carbon in the starting molecule. See over here. So when we have to discuss intramolecular aldol reaction, then we do not need to find the relationship. Then we do not need to find a 1,3 relationship. Simply we have to discuss that aldol reaction. For the aldol reaction, we need a 2 carbonyl group within a compound because it is an intramolecular aldol reaction. See this one. This is the carbonyl compound and this is the carbonyl compound. What happened in the presence of base? The first step is the formation of enolate, and the second step, the attack of the enolate at the carbonyl carbon to affords beta hydroxy carbonyl compound, and that beta hydroxy carbonyl compound follows the E1CB elimination of water molecule and afford alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound, that is compound 32, which is obtained in 96% yield. Up till now we have discussed the synthesis and disconnection of beta hydroxy carbonyl compound, and here in this slide we will discuss the synthesis and disconnection of 1,3 dicarbonyl compounds. Remember, compound number 23, it have two carbonyl groups within a compound, and the relationship between two functional groups is the 1,3 relationship. So 1,3 carbonyl compound. Remember, I told you in the previous slides, if our target molecule is the hydroxy ketone, then upon disconnection the hydroxy ketone affords two fragments. One is the enolate and the other is the aldehyde or the ketone. Remember, if our target molecule is the 1,3 dicarbonyl compound, then upon disconnection the 1,3 dicarbonyl compound will afford also the two fragments. One will be the enolate and the other will be the acid derivative. It may be the ester, it may be the acid halide. It is not the aldehyde or the ketone. So keep this difference in your mind. The other mechanism of formation of both compound will be the same. See over here. See, this is compound 35. It's a 1,3 dicarbonyl compound. The 35 compound is a ketoester. Here is the ester group, OET. And there are, you will see the other 1,3 dicarbonyl compounds in which you will see the R group instead of OET over here. So there are two disconnection pathway for the compound 35. See over here, B disconnection pathway and A disconnection pathway. See the B disconnection. B disconnection is the cleavage of bond next to the carbonyl group, carbonyl carbon 3, and the A cleavage follow the disconnection of a bond present next to the carbonyl carbon 1. First we discuss the B disconnection pathway. So this bond, the bond present next to the carbonyl carbon number 3 is cleaved, then it affords two fragments. One fragment will be the 36, that is the enolate, and the other fragment 37, that is the diethyl carbonate. It's a diethyl carbonate. See, this is the OET. When a bond is cleaved over here, then this alpha carbon, the fragment which contain the alpha carbon, will be the enolate, and we will add a leaving group with the carbonyl carbon. See over here, this is the alpha carbon, this carbon carrying a negative charge, so 36 is the enolate, and OET is added to the next, to the other fragment. I mean OET is attached with the carbonyl carbon, this OET is the leaving group. Now see the A cleavage, A disconnection pathway, that is also the 1,3 di-O disconnection pathway. In this disconnection, the bond next to the carbonyl carbon 1 is cleaved. So this bond is cleaved. In this case, this fragment will be converted to the enolate because this fragment contains alpha carbon. See 34, this fragment contains alpha carbon, so this will be converted to the enolate. This carries a negative charge, fragment 34, and the other fragment will contain a leaving group. That leaving group is OET, so OET is attached with the carbonyl carbon, so this will act as a electrophile. So see the fragment 33 and 34, both are similar compound. That's why the A disconnection pathway is preferred over B disconnection pathway. The fragments of A disconnection pathway are the ethyl acetate, the simple fragment. During the synthesis, the ethyl acetate shows a self-condensation reaction and affords 35 product, which is a 1,3 dicarbonyl compound. There is now a reason for choosing one particular base. That particular base is ethoxide ion. It means sodium ethoxide or potassium ethoxide is used as a base during the formation of 1,3 dicarbonyl compounds. When ethoxide ion is used as a base, then it produces small amount of enolate 34, that is shown in the previous slide, and that enolate 34 will react with unenolized ester, that is compound number 40. This is compound number 40. As a result of a reaction of enolate 34 with unenolized ester 40 to give the product 35, that is our target material. During this reaction, I mean the attack of enolate 34 on the unenolized ester, it regenerates a base, that is ethoxide ion. That is useful, but the real reason we use the same base as the esterifying alcohol, i.e. ethoxide with an ethyl ester, is that if it attacks as a nucleophile, see, we are discussing why we use the ethoxide ion as a base in these reactions. I mean the reactions in which our coupling partner or the coupling fragment are the esters. Then we use ethoxide or the alkoxide as a base. What is the reason why we use the alkoxide as a base? So the alkoxide have a negative charge. It can perform a dual function. If it attacks abstract the acidic proton, then it is base. It has the option to attack at the carbonyl carbon. It means it can be used, it can attack as a nucleophile. It can act as a nucleophile instead of a base. If it attacks as a nucleophile instead of as a base, then it merely regenerates ethyl acetate. It means ester is produced. Reacting ethyl acetate with sodium ethoxide and ethanol, giving ethyl acetoacetate compound 32 in 60% yield. This ketoester is therefore available cheaply and is used as a starting material in many syntheses. That synthesis shown in the other chapters of and that is not a part of our syllabus. Intermolecular reactions are very favorable here as elsewhere, and the cyclic ketoester 41, this is the cyclic ketoester 41 1,3 relationship. When the bond is disconnected, then it gives us symmetrical diester 42 1,3 dicarbonyl relationship is disconnected, then it gives us symmetrical diester 42. The cyclization works well. Then this 42 is the starting material. So the two carbonyl carbon present within the same molecule, so this show a intermolecular reaction, and it can afford 41 through formation of enolate, that is 43. So when a 42 is treated with sodium ethoxide base, this base will abstract the alpha proton and the enolate is produced at one of the alpha carbon of the ester group. That enolate attack at the carbonyl carbon and affords 43 cyclized product. If the cyclized product 43 is treated with any alkyl halide or is subjected to a medium which have the alkylating agent, then it affords R group. When the negative charge came back, then the pi bond attack at the R group, then we have 44 product. This is easily demonstrated by adding an alkyl halide in the workup when product 44 are formed. So this is assignment. You have to write the mechanism of this intramolecular cyclization. As a result of intramolecular cyclization, alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound is obtained. This is another assignment question 2. This contains the ester group. You have to write the mechanism of decarboxylation of ester. See over here, this is our reactant and this is our product. There is no ester group over here. What happened over here? The ester is subjected to hydrolysis and converted to the carboxylic acid, which upon heating gives a decarboxylated product, that is this one. So you have to write the mechanism of decarboxylation of this reaction. Thank you.